Alright, so that was just a jam with the different modes. So yeah, welcome to this episode, Guitar Talk number 10. We're going to be talking about the modes and yeah, everything about the modes. So yeah, so what are the modes? I think it's one of the most challenging things to learn in music. A lot of people, from my experience, they have a hard time understanding it, even when I was trying to learn it years ago. And one of the reasons I think why it's challenging is the way we present it or the way that we teach it. If we take a look at books or the internet or videos, most of the time the modes are presented as scales, and I think that's the problem, because I think the modes aren't scales. But most people, when they try to learn the modes, they think it's a scale. And what usually happens is something like this. If you learn C Ionian, usually what happens is that the Dorian mode is just the same notes, same scale, but you start with D. And you tell yourself, what the hell's the difference? And that's the problem, because the modes aren't scales. It's the music itself. Modes are, for me, you can disagree with me if you like, but I think modes are just the music. And you have to play the modes in musical context for you to be able to hear the difference. And one way that you can do that is the one that I did earlier in this video, where I just jammed in a loop with just one note, nag-loop, which is an E note, and I was just playing over different modes of that E note. So I was playing E Aeolian, E Mixolydian, Lydian, Ionian, Phrygian. And in this video, I'm not gonna talk to you about what's the difference between the Ionian mode and Dorian, Phrygian, because you can just look it up by yourself. And I think as well that the best way to learn the modes is you can't learn it in just one video or one reading of a book. you have to like really study it and apply it during your practice time. So what I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna make another loop, another demonstration, but this time it's more like slow. So I'm just gonna loop an ambient E note like this. So something like that. And I'm just gonna record over that. Oh shit, I just turned it off. I'm gonna do it again. Alright, that should be good enough. So I'm not sure if you can hear the E note. Let's do that again though. Alright, so we have it, we have the loop. I'm not gonna explain the modes in this video, like I said, but what I'm gonna do is, let's forget about the names of the modes first and what are the different intervals. But we are gonna focus on just the intervals though. So what I'm gonna do with this loop, we're just gonna play the different intervals, the different notes along or against this note E, and all these notes will function as different intervals. So for example, I'm just gonna play a random note. Obviously that's E. So let's pick something else random. So this is B. Against an E note, that's gonna be an interval, which in this case is a fifth, but you don't have to know if it's a fifth. Just listen to what the intervals are offering you. So another note. I'm just gonna play. So as you can see, all of these intervals, they have a different function. They provide a different feel or an emotion, and that's basically it. And just play, just listen to it. And I'm gonna play randomly. All of these notes have place. They're providing something, different sound. You don't have to play a specific scale. I'm just randomly playing things. But here's the thing. All of those notes, they are intervals. They are a function of the root note, which is in this case it's E. So what we need to do is we need to get to know all of these intervals, and it's gonna be useful if you know the names of the intervals, like major third, fifth, 7, because at least you know the names of the intervals, and you can better use them in the future or in your playing. So, but the most important thing is to know what they offer you. So let's just focus on the major scale this time. So obviously we're gonna be playing the Ionian mode. So, and try to like listen to the melody in your head, because every note that you're gonna be playing, your mind, based off of your influences and your identity, will suggest a melody. You're gonna hear a melody in your head and you're gonna follow it, or you have to follow it. I'm hearing a rise there. Maybe a fifth. Let's try that. Now, let's try to modify the major scale, and let's see what's gonna happen if on the 4th degree or the 4th interval, we're gonna sharp the 4th, so sharp 4. So instead of playing, you're gonna play. So it's already a different sound. It's just one note that I changed, and it's providing us a different sound. Now, you have to have your own definitions, your own preferences, your own understanding of each and every single interval in these in the notes, all of the notes. So as you can see, I'm just playing one string. We're trying to get to know the notes, the different intervals, and how they sound like. So this is the sound of the sharp 4. How does it feel? How does it make you feel? Do you like it? Do you prefer to play this? Maybe you want to play this in a certain situation, like to give out a specific feeling, or a mode, or a mood, whatever. So that's the sharp 4. If you look back, or if you already know, it happens to be a Lydian mode. So that's the kind of I would suggest how to learn the modes. Like, get to know the intervals first, and you don't have to know the names of the modes, not yet. But although I do agree that knowing the names of the modes is actually important for you to be able to have like an understanding of what the modes are, and you can better decide, like when you're improvising, I want this mode, Mixolydian or Lydian, will give this sound, will give this feeling. I'm gonna use it in this song, for example. But that's the most important thing, by the way. It's not just knowing, okay, Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian kay sharp 4, Mixolydian kay major 3rd, flat 7. That's important, but it's even more important is how do those different intervals sound like? How does it make you feel? So let's examine more intervals. So this is a good way to practice the modes, and actually kanang improvising, if you're a beginner improviser or kanang guitar player lang in general, or you want to practice or improve your soloing, this is a good way to do that, and also to learn the modes. So play one note at a time. Try to loop a note like this, and it's good to just have one note, by the way, so that you have all the different intervals available to you. Because if you're gonna play a chord, let's say a major chord, then you're forced to just you're setting limits. You're just limited to the major modes. But in this case, I'm just playing E. All of the modes are available to me, so I can play. So I've been playing the major 3rd, no? So So since it's just E, I'm free to play the minor third. Lord of the Rings. So it has a different sound. So try to experiment, try to discover what the different modes sound like. So how about a flat 9 or a flat 2? Fifth. So that's the sound of the flat 2. Flat 5. So, no, what else? Major. Let's try a major 7. With a flat 3rd. I'm just riffing. So that's the point. With the modes, you need to be able to have your own idea of what those different intervals provide you. And of course, if you want to, obviously you can know the names of the modes, but most importantly, you have to get to know the modes. Ilailahon mo ang different intervals, what it provides for you, how does it make you feel, ganahan ba ka na? Do you like the sound? Because as a musician or as a maybe composer, or if you just want to improvise, or you're a guitarist trying to make a solo, it's very important and it's gonna be useful for you, a useful tool to have in order for you to better express yourself. So, for example, you're writing a song, and for example, I wrote a song, Candy Store, no? Like the riff went like this. After I wrote that section, I just heard a melody or a riff in my head, and I just knew it was. I like this to be Phrygian. I'm gonna give this a Phrygian feel. So immediately so Phrygian flat 2, major 3rd. So that section of the song that I wrote, nobody knows that song. Nobody listened. But was 2 different modes that was switching from one to the other. So like this was like a minor mode. Then I switched to. So that's one example where you, as a songwriter or a composer, use the modes. So if you're oblivious to it, then you won't be able to make that decision. So that's why it's important to have like your own preferences, your own understanding. Okay, ang flat 2, this is how a flat 2nd will sound like. This is how a flat 7 will sound like with a major 3rd. This is how a flat sharp 4 with a major 3rd will sound like. So all of these different combinations, they have names of the modes, but most importantly, how does it sound like to you? Do you want to use it? How are you going to use it? It's going to help you make better decisions as you're soloing, you're improvising, and you're writing songs. So that's the most important thing. So just loop. You can do this for hours. So you try a different scale along or against this. I always say that along or against, because if I say along, we're going to chop noun with that note. But if I say against, mura siya weird, may pagka-mysterious, like a flat 5th. And try to discover new scales. You don't have to know what the scale is, by the way. You just need to discover different sounds with this note, the E, that's looping. So there are no wrong notes, they just have different feel. So that's what you need to learn. So if you haven't tried this yet, then you have something to do, to work on for years because this is gonna take a long time. But this is so much fun. Like, you're just playing, you're discovering new things. So major scale. You can go outside of the major scale and play the notes that aren't in the major scale. There are no wrong notes. Make the wrong notes sound right. That's what Victor Wooten said. So I can even play chromatically. Even in the jam that I did earlier, I was doing this. Just to prove a point, there's no wrong notes. I intentionally did that for that effect, because I know it's gonna sound weird, because it was filled with outside notes, because I wasn't playing a major scale or a definitive scale that was suitable for the E note. So you can play a chromatic scale, and if you want, you can slowly eliminate unwanted notes that you don't want. Like, ay, pati na siya. I wanna move this here, so you can make better decisions now. You know this scale will work, this shape, not this. Or maybe you want that, so depende. And if you find out a note that you like, you take note of it. Need ka ni siyang note, nindot ni siya. Unsa ni siya nga interval, what's this? This is flat 7. I like this. I'm gonna use this in the future. I'm gonna use this, like I'm gonna make a lick out of this. So improvise, play, just the whole fretboard is your playground. So much fun. And also, talking about emotions, I want to talk about how one of the reasons we have a challenge in learning modes is because we try to describe it with words that are kind of limiting. And I know it's important to have a description of a certain sound, like a Ionian happy, or like a major chord is happy, a minor chord is sad. But I don't think it's okay, but don't be limited by those ideas, because you can make a major chord sound sad and a minor chord sound happy. Like, it's a major chord. Doesn't sound happy because I didn't play it happy. I didn't play it. So it's not just the notes, it's how you play it as well. So a big factor of it is you. So you can, a minor chord sounds sad, but if I play it like this, so you play it lively, then it's gonna sound lively or happy, joyful. So it's not just the notes. I think we talked about that in a different podcast. So notes are just one thing. There's a whole different spectrum of different elements, like dynamics and emotion, I guess, articulation, whatever. So that's the thing to know. Like, when we try to define things, manggod, happy, sad, and usually that's associated with major and minor. And when we are presented with these 7 modes, we're gonna be like overwhelmed. what are the other 7 modes? Are they happy or are they sad? They're neither. Sometimes one mode has multiple emotions. Like I just showed that a major chord can be happy or sad, or negative or light, however you want to put it. But that's the thing. If you just limit yourself with the happy and sad, it's so binary, but we experience a whole spectrum of different emotions. So you need to be able to be open to that idea. You need to listen to the music, listen to different intervals, so that you're ready to understand what those different intervals are saying to you, the different emotions that they are giving to you. So that's another thing as well. So don't be too dogmatic about how a book is describing this certain mode. Make your own description. Make your own understanding on what those different modes sound like. So I hope that makes sense. So I guess nasulti na ako tanan na ko'y guide na po dun eh. Modes or scales, modes of the identity. Listen to the music, listen to what the modes are providing you. Yeah. So yeah, that's all for the modes. I hope I made sense and nakasabot ra mo. And yeah, have fun playing with your guitar. Right.